Hello my dear students, myself Dr. Pitambar Umne, founder Botany for You and working as Professor and Head Department of Botany, Dharampet MP Dev Memorial Science College, Nagpur, Maharashtra, India. I welcome you all in this online platform for the students of Life Sciences Botany for You. Friends, if you are new or not yet subscribed our YouTube channel, then kindly like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel Botany for You. And if you want to associate with us through the Telegram group, then the link is given in the description so that you can take the advantage of different literature assistance as well as career opportunities in life sciences in India and abroad. Friends, in our earlier classes, we have completed paper 1 for the semester 3 botany syllabus prescribed by RTM Nagpur University Nagpur. And in today's class, we will see the paper 2 and the paper 2 entitled that is the angiosperm anatomy and horticulture. First 3 units are based on angiosperm anatomy and the last fourth one unit that is skill based unit and it is based upon horticulture. In today's class, we will see the first unit that is based on the angiosperm anatomy. First of all, let's see the syllabus of this first unit. In this unit, there are 5 different topics, that is the tissue, which includes the definition, then characteristics of meristematic tissue, classification of meristems based on the origin and position. The second topic, that is the simple permanent tissue and their functions, and which includes the parenchyma, parenchyma and sclerenchyma. The complex permanent tissue and their functions includes the xylem and the phloem. The fourth unit based on the apical meristems of root and the shoot, which includes the different theories, that is the apical cell theory, histogen theory, tunica corpus theory and Newman's theory. And the last topic is based on the cambium, which includes the structure of cambium, types of cambium and functions of cambium. So let's see the different 75 MCQ type of the questions based on this unit. The first question, that is which type of tissues have lignified cell wall? If we see the parenchyma, meristems, cambium and sclerenchyma, then the lignified cell wall are present in the sclerenchyma, as these cells are basically responsible to provide the mechanical support to the plant body. Then parenchyma cells are characterized by the presence of, if we see the parenchymatous cells, then the type of cells having the thickening at the corners or the specific type of the spaces. So such a type of the cells are again responsible to provide the mechanical strength to the climbers, and hence the elongated cells with the thickenings at the corners become the answer for this question, that is C. Then which of the following statement is correct? Number 1, thin walled living cells are called as parenchymatous. It is the correct statement. Then thin walled parenchymatous cells having the independent power of division. Whenever we are talking about the group of the cell having the independent power of the division, then it is the definition of the meristems, and hence second one is also the correct one, and hence both the statements A and B are correct. The term meristem was given by Nageli. Then which of the following function is carried out by meristems? What are the different type of the meristems functions in the plants? It is responsible for the conduction of water. No, it is the function of xylem. Then transport of organic matter, which is the function of phloem, and growth of the plant, that is the function of the meristem. So C will be the correct answer for this question. The meristem derived from promeristem is called as, the meristems which are derived from the promeristem are known as the primary meristem. The meristematic cells have, if we see the meristematic cells, usually these are thin walled cells having the prominent nuclei and the absence of vacuole. So these are the characteristic feature of the meristematic cells, and hence all the above become the answer for this question. The intrafascicular cambium is derived from, if you see the vascular bundles of the dicot, then there are the presence of cambium cells inside the vascular bundle, and these are known as the intrafascicular cambium, and this cambium is derived from procambium, which is the primary cambium. Then the intercalary meristems occurred in, so if you see the presence of intercalary meristem which are involved in the formation of leaves as well as the lateral branches are present in dicot also, in the monocot also, as well as in the gymnosperms also, and hence all the above become the answer for this question. Then which of the following meristem is present at the base of the internode? So the base of the internode contain the intercalary meristems, and hence B will be the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following statement is true in relation to the meristems? So the thin wall with the thin protoplasm, dense protoplasm, no intercellular spaces, then isodiametric and nucleate. So this will be the wrong one. Then thick wall will be the wrong. Then again thick wall, it will be the wrong. So first three statements are wrong. It is thin walled having the dense protoplasm with no intercellular spaces and isodiametric and containing the prominent nuclei, and hence D is the correct statement in relation to that of the meristem. According to the location, the meristem are classified as, you might have studied on the basis of the location, the meristems are called as the apical meristems, intercalary meristems and the lateral meristems, and hence D will be the correct answer for this question. Then primary plant growth is accomplished by, if you see the primary plant growth means after the germination of the seed. So here there will be the primary growth, and even before the development of the leaves there is growth of the axis, and this growth of the central axis is carried out by the apical meristem. Then intercalary meristems are in a position. Intercalary meristems are present in the nodal region as well as internodal region as well as the basal region, and hence all the above become the answer for this question. Lateral meristems includes, so if you see the lateral meristem which are involved in the lateral growth of the plant body, that is in the diameter by means of the process of secondary growth, and hence the vascular cambium which is present in the vascular bundle, that is the interfascicular cambium and the intrafascicular cambium, and the cork cambium which is involved in the formation of the periderm or the park, and these are the examples of the lateral meristems. According to origin, the meristems are classified as, according to the origin, the meristems are classified as promeristem, primary meristem and the secondary meristems, and hence B is the correct answer for this question. The secondary meristems are responsible for, the secondary meristems are responsible for the healing of the wounds as well as it is involved in the secondary growth of the plant body, and hence both A and B will be the answer for this question. Then promeristeme is also called as, the promeristeme is also known as the primordial meristeme. It is also known as the meristeme as well as the embryonic meristemes, and hence D will be the answer for this question. Then which of the following statement is correct? That the secondary growth is accomplished by lateral meristeme. This is the correct statement. That is the cambium, which is present inside the vascular bundle or outside the vascular bundle, as well as the cork cambium, that are the examples of the lateral meristems. Then healing of wounds is accomplished by the secondary meristems that we have seen just now. So this is also the correct statement, and hence both A and B will be the answer for this question. Then which of the following pair of character is correct? That the promeristeme is involved in the formation of the new organs. This is correct. Then secondary meristeme is involved in the secondary growth, and primary meristeme is involved in the formation of the leaves and similar appendages like the branches, and this is also the correct one, and hence all the above become the answer for this question. Then which of the following pair of characters not correct? See, not correct. Number 1, the apical meristems is involved in the formation of the root and the shoot. This is correct. Then intercalary meristems are involved in the formation of the leaves. This is also the correct. And the lateral meristems are involved in the secondary growth, and this is also the correct. And hence not correct means none of the above, and hence D will be the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following tissue provide maximum strength? If you see the plant or the higher plant, in case of the gymnosperms or the dicotyledons, then you will find that there is a presence of the wood, and this wood is nothing but the xylem. So D will be the correct answer for this question. A simple tissue consisting of living cells and provide mechanical strength to the plant is. So if you see the simple tissue, that is the parenchyma, sclerenchyma, cholenchyma, then chlorenchyma. So these simple tissue, but which is living, because the sclerenchyma is dead but provide the mechanical support, and hence living cell which provide the support or the mechanical strength become the cholenchyma, and hence C will be the correct answer for this question. Then the tissue forming the long, flexible but the strong strands in leaf stalk and climber's stem is. Such type of the tissues which are present in the climber and responsible for mechanical support or the strength, these are the cholenchymatous cells having the thickenings at the corners. Then flesh of the fruit is mainly consist of, usually the flesh of the fruit is made up of parenchymatous cells, and hence A will be the correct answer. In most of the plants, the ground tissue consists of, even the ground tissue in most of the plants are parenchymatous, that is the thin walled. Then is the tissue which has dead cells in the functional state. So if you see the conduction of the water which contain the sclerenchymatous cells which are dead but are involved in the conduction of the water in the xylem, such type of the cells are the example of the sclerenchyma. Then which of the following tissue belongs to phloem? So the phloem contain sieve tubes, then companion cells, phloem, parenchyma, and phloem fibers. So all these four are the components of the phloem, and hence all the above become the answer for this question. The phloem cells which are responsible for short distance transport of metabolite are called as, such a type of the cells which are involved in the transport, they are known as the transport cells. Then which of the following tissue consists of dead cells? If you see the sclerenchymatous cells which are present in the xylem, they are the dead cells but are involved in the transport of the water, and hence the xylem will be the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following statement are engaged in, which of the following elements are engaged in conduction of water in gymnosperms and primitive angiosperms? If you see the presence of vessels which is the characteristic feature of the angiosperms, and the vessels are found to be absent in the gymnosperm. Instead of that, there are the presence of tracheids in the gymnosperms, and even the primitive angiosperm possess the tracheids. So the B will be the correct answer for this question. Plant regeneration can occur from mature parenchyma because these parenchymatous cells having the ability to de-differentiate, and hence they can regenerate. Then the phloem and the xylem belongs to the group of the tissue. Earlier we have seen that the simple tissue and the complex tissue. When we are talking about the definition of the tissue, then it is the group of the cell which has the similar structure, similar function and similar origin. But the type of the cell which are present in the phloem and the xylem, they are structurally different from each other, and hence they are known as the complex tissues. Then the tissue taking part in transporting organic nutrients from source or the storage is. We know that the phloem is involved in transport of the organic matter, and the xylem is involved in transport of the water and the minerals, and hence the answer become phloem. In which of the following group of plants vessels are found to be absent? Earlier we have seen that in the gymnosperms the vessels are found to be absent and they are present in the angiosperms. Then tyloses are found in. So if you see the vessels, so the lumen of the vessel is blocked with a balloon-like structure inside it. Such a type of the balloon-like structure which is present in the lumen of the vessel is known as the tyloses. So such tyloses are present in the vessels. Then sieve tubes are ideal for nutrient transport because they have. If you see these sieve tubes are broad in the lumen, means the inner diameter is broader with the little peripheral cytoplasm, and hence they are ideal for the transport of the nutrient material, and hence answer becomes D. Then tracheary elements are, if you see the vessels and the tracheids, then these elements have the lignified walls, and hence the tracheary elements are the elongated and the lignified walls, and hence C will be the correct answer. Then long pointed sclerenchyma cells are called as. If you see the structure of the fiber, then you will find such type. So these are very much long and the pointed. Then the leptome is the name of. If you see the phloem and the xylem with their conducting part, then the conducting part of the phloem is known as the leptome, and the conducting part of the xylem is called as the hydrome. The function of the sieve tubes is to. If you see this function of the sieve tube, then it is involved in the translocation of the organic food material. Means after the photosynthesis, the food material is loaded in the phloem, and through the sieve tube it is transported to the sink or where there is need of the food material, and hence translocate organic food become the answer for this question. The function of vessels or xylem is to. Earlier we have seen that xylem is involved in the transport of the water and the minerals, as well as because of the sclerenchymatous nature of the cells of the xylem, it is involved in the providing mechanical strength or the support, and hence both all these three statements, that is the translocation of water, then translocation of minerals and provide the mechanical strength, are the correct, and hence D will be, that is all the above become the answer for this question. Then tracheary elements are the vessels and tracheids, they are combinedly considered as the tracheary elements, and hence A will be the answer. Then cholenchyma is characterized by. Earlier we have seen that the cholenchyma having the thickening at the corner means to the selected places, and hence the elongated cells with the thickening at the selected places will be the answer for this question. Sieve tubes are characterized by. If we see the sieve tubes, again in the wall of the sieve tube there are perforated septum, and perforated oblique septa will be the answer for this question. Then which of the following tissue consisting of living thin-walled isodiametric cells with the intercellular spaces? So thin-walled cells, they are living, and that is known as the parenchyma, because the cholenchyma having the thickness and sclerenchyma again are the lignified. Then which of the following tissue are anucleated, thin-walled with the perforated septa? Earlier we have seen that in a sieve tube there is a presence of perforated septa, and hence B will be the correct answer for this question. A mature sieve tube differs from a vessels in. So in the sieve tube there is a presence of cytoplasm, and in the vessels there is a absence of the cytoplasm, and hence B will be the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following tissue consists of elongated cells with the tapering ends? Earlier we have seen that the pointed end in case of the fibers, but when there is a tapering end in the xylem, then it is the trachea, and hence C will be the correct answer for this question. The xylem tissues consist of, if you see the xylem tissues, then it contains the tracheids, it contains the vessels, it contains the xylem parenchyma and the xylem fibers or the wood fibers, and hence all the above become the answer for this question. Apical cell theory was given by. The apical cell theory was given by Nageli, who has discovered the meristems. Then which of the following statement is correct in relation to the apical cell theory? Number 1, that is the single apical cell is structural and functional unit of the apical meristem. This is the correct statement. Second one, that the apical cell govern the whole process of the growth, and this is also the correct one, and hence both A and B will be the answer for this question. Single apical cell occurs in. The characteristic feature of the algae, bryophytes and the pteridophytes is that there is a presence of the single apical cell which is involved in the overall growth of the plant body, and hence all the above become the answer for this question. Then tunica corpus theory was proposed by. The tunica corpus theory was proposed by Schmidt. Then which of the following statement is correct? That the peripheral zone consisting of one or more layers of the regularly arranged cells called as the tunica. This is the correct, because it is the definition or the meaning of the tunica. Second one, that the inner core of the cells surrounded by tunica is called as the corpus, and this is also the correct, that the central part is the corpus and the peripheral part is the tunica, and they are distinguished from each other on the basis of the plane of the division, and hence C will be the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following statement is not correct? C. Tunica is characterized by only anticlinal divisions, and this is the correct statement. Then corpus divides in a various planes. This is also the correct statement. The tunica and corpus can be distinguished on the basis of plane of the division that earlier I told you. This is also the correct statement, and hence all these three are correct, but the question is asked not correct, and hence none of the above will be the answer for this question. Then which of the following statement is correct? Number 1, the epidermis develops from the outermost layer of the tunica. This is correct one. Pith, vascular bundles and cortex develops from the corpus. This is also the correct, and hence C will be the correct answer for this question. According to Newman, in 1965, the root apex are classified into. So if we see this theory, that is the Newman's theory of the root apex, then there are 5 types of the root apex, and hence B will be the correct answer for this question. Then Newman's theory of root apex is modified version of. If we see the Newman's theory, then Eames and the McDaniel's theory and Esau theory, then you will find that the Eames, McDaniel's and the Esau's theory is the base, and later on it is modified theory, that is the Newman's theory, and hence both A and B will be the answer for this question. Then which of the following statement is correct according to Newman's theory of root apex? In type 1, which represent the simplex apex, and in type 2 to 5 represent the duplex apex, and both these are correct with respect to the Newman's theory of the root apex, and hence C will be the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following pair of characters are correctly matched? Then the type 1 is 1 initiating layer, type 2 and 3 2 initiating, and type 4 and 5 having the 3 initiating layers, and all these 3 are correctly matched, and hence all the above will be the answer for this question. Then tunica corpus theory is connected with. If you see the tunica corpus theory, it is given with respect to the apical growth of the shoot, and hence it is related with the shoot apex. Then who among the following proposed histogen theory? The histogen theory was proposed by Hans Steen, and hence B will be the correct answer. Then organization of stem apex into tunica and corpus is determined mainly by. Earlier we have seen that the distinction or the distinguish between the tunica and corpus is on the basis of the plane of the division, and hence A will be the correct answer for this question. Then cork cambium and vascular cambium are cork cambium which is present outside the vasculature, and the vascular cambium is present in the vascular bundle or the stele. So if you see this cork cambium and the vascular cambium, these are the examples of the lateral meristem. Then structurally the vascular cambium is composed of. The vascular cambium is composed of 2 types of the cells which are known as the ray initials and fusiform initials, and hence C will be the correct answer for this question. Then which of the following statement is correct? The ray initial give rise sclerenchymatous ray initial. This is wrong statement because the ray initial are responsible for parenchymatous ray initials, and the fusiform initials give rise secondary phloem and secondary xylem, and this is the correct statement, and hence B will be the correct answer for this question. Then match the following pairs. Apical cell theory was proposed by Nageli, tunica corpus theory was proposed by Schmidt, histogen theory by Hans Steen, and the Newman theory was proposed by the Newman. Then match the following again. So the tunica, corpus, ray initial and fusiform initials. So ray initials, that is the parenchymatous medullary rays, fusiform, that is the cortex and vascular bundles. Then tunica is responsible for the epidermis and corpus for the secondary phloem and the xylem, and hence now they are correctly paired. According to histogen theory, which of the following meristematic zones are recognized in shoot apex? So if you see the histogen theory, the shoot apex, of which there are the 3 different zones, that is the dermatogene, peribleme and the pleurome. The outermost is the dermatogene, middle one is the peribleme, and the innermost is the pleurome, and hence D will be the correct answer for this question. Then each of the following pairs the meristematic zone and its functions is correctly paired. Dermatogene is responsible for the formation of epidermis, this is correct one. Peribulum is involved in the formation of the cortex. This is also the correct one. And the pleurome is also involved in the formation of the vascular cylinder. And this is also correct one. And hence, all the above become the answer for this question. Then cambium is absent in. So presence of the cambium is the characteristic feature of the plants which show the secondary growth, and the secondary growth is a characteristic feature of the dicot and the gymnosperms. But the secondary growth is normally found to be absent in the monocotyledons, and hence the cambium is found to be absent in the monocots. Then secondary growth includes the formation of secondary vascular tissue, and we know that after the secondary growth, which is involved in the formation of the secondary phloem and the secondary xylem by the cambium, which is present inside the vascular bundle and outside the vascular bundle, that is intravascular cambium and intervascular cambium. While again there is a formation of the bark or the periderm by the activity of the secondary cambium, and that is known as the phylogeny or the cork cambium, and hence it is again there is a formation of the periderm by the activity of the secondary growth. Then the phylogeny produces a group of the loosely placed cells at certain places, and these are called as the lenticels, are also called as the water stomata, which are formed during the secondary growth by the activity of the phylogeny, which produces a group of the loosely placed cells at the certain places. So friends, I am very much hopeful and confident that this lecture will be helpful to you in preparation of your online examinations conducted by the universities, and also in different competitive examination where the life sciences will be one of the subjects. Friends, if you like this lecture and if it is useful to you, then kindly like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel Botany for You, and also press bell icon for the alerts of every lecture to be uploaded on different life sciences titles. And don't forget to join our Telegram group with the link given in the description, so that you can take the advantage of the literature assistance in the form of PDF as well as the career opportunities in life sciences in India and abroad. Thank you very much for watching this lecture completely. Thanks a lot once again.